Good morning, everybody. Another episode of the Keep Going podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health. Got a special guest. We got Joe of the Pojo in the building. Super excited to have John OBryan on here. I got Dave and Jackie with me as well. Dave, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Got outside yesterday on the mountain. The mountain just opened here in Steamboat Springs, so excited for the season to start today. Just got work today, so back to it. What's going on with you?
Everything is good, man. You excited for the winter out there in Colorado, man? What's your favorite thing to do out there, dude?
Probably snowboard or mountain bike. I kind of got both in one day yesterday. It's still kind of warm out, so holding on to the late fall here.
I love it, Dave. Well, enjoy it, brother. Good talking to you as always. Jackie, what's up? We're both in the car, it looks like. That's good.
Yeah. No, it's winter in New England, so the Pats are on at 1. That's all I got.
Pats are still good. Are the Pats for real, Jackie? Are they for real?
I mean, are you really 9-2 and not for real?
I mean, don't get me started on the Bears. I could say there's some teams out there that might not be for real that have a lot of wins, so I had to ask.
Okay. We'll find out. Week by week, but I mean, Drake May's the man, so.
Yeah, speaking of a team that might not be for real right now, John, your Bengals are having their issues, man. Talk about your Bengals right now.
Big time. Well, I definitely thought at first Joe Flacco was definitely going to keep us afloat just a little bit. But, I mean, at this point, it looks like all four of us go play defense for the Bengals and might do a better job than who's out there right now. Jackie, I hate to break it to you, but I'm hoping my Bengals pull one out today. I got a student of mine that's a big Patriots fan that's been giving me some stuff throughout the week about it. And it definitely I want to hit that one at home for sure.
Yeah, no, we'll be cordial.
Healthy banter. I did not plan it that way, but it's funny how that kind of goes.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I didn't even know they were playing today, so here we are. But John, outside of our football teams, man, tell me why you wanted to come on the podcast today, man.
I think when you and I got together this summer, I had Pat come out and speak to our kids about mental health and the aspect of that when it comes to what it can do to you as an athlete. And I was never somebody, especially when I got on playing, I was ever comfortable talking about the things that I would go through mentally, especially kind of being that in between of you're done playing to what's the next step from that point forward. And so when you and I talked a little bit about it this summer, we kind of talked through some few things that we both kind of gone through that definitely hit a home and made me feel a whole lot more comfortable to speak on it and speak about it more around my kids and around my players that I get to coach on a daily basis. And hopefully, my story, the things that I go through and how I handle things can maybe hopefully help somebody else in the future and have a better understanding that, we as athletes and former athletes, we put a lot and pour a lot into what we do and what our craft is, but there's always still a life outside of what that sport has to offer.
Yeah, beautifully said, man. I think your authenticity and your vulnerability, not only when we went to Rockford together, but like who you are now as a person is exactly why you're on the podcast today, man. Like I come in, I talk to your girls, they love you, man. Like it's very clear that you're a player first, and I love that about you. Talk about what you've learned coaching women's basketball post-college playing career.
As a player, I was, as somebody that really took the game as serious as I did, for me, it was like never a day off from being that type of person, and especially in the role that I was in at Rockford. And I never really took in consideration anybody else's feelings or thoughts during that process. It was always about, what John O'Brien wanted to do. And if you weren't going to work as hard as John O'Brien, then there's no point of you being here with me. And, switching over to coaching girls, I know at first, especially my little sister, they all probably thought I was nuts making that transition. But making that switch has definitely kind of changed the person that I am, changing the person that I am today, taking in a better accountability of understanding that every kid that we work with is different. Every kid that we coach is different. So being able to kind of play a lot of different roles to adjust to how each kid is and being able to work with them enough to get them to fully understand the impact that not only that we make as coaches, but the impact they make on us throughout their time playing for you. I'm one of those coaches that my resume is what it is because of the kids that I've had the pleasure of coaching and working with throughout my 8 years of coaching since I've kind of stepped away from playing the game. And, they've brought a really great side out of me that I did not know existed. It's turned me into a better man and a better father at home. And that's, realistically, it's kind of what I've always wanted to be, well beyond my years of playing the game and being in the roles that I've been in throughout my coaching career.
Yeah, Jo, I was obviously out there and I went to a practice before I spoke. And I would love to say I meant to do that. I got there early and I didn't even know you guys were practicing. And I'm just I'm walking down the court and watching you guys kind of do your thing. When you're having tougher days in the gym, man, you have a girl that's supposed to be playing better, she's not, or the team's just not clicking. Who do you lean on? What do you do when that's not at the top of the top?
We really turn to who we put in position to be our captains. I look at putting our players in being in a captain position to kind of prepare them not only for different adversity situations they could go through, but also learning how to speak to each other, speak to their teammates. They're going to run into situations like this in real world situations when it comes to jobs and work with different people from different backgrounds with different cultures. And so we really turn on our captains to kind of lead by that example. I'm more of I would much rather one of my leaders on our team fix a correction than I would. I think that, I'm kind of really bought in fully into great programs are led by your players, not by the coach itself. The coach sets the standard, the coach sets the expectation, but your captains, your leaders are the ones that really show and live through that expectation and leading by example. So those are typically who we turn to in those situations. I feel like we got a really good group of young ladies that are great leaders in our program outside of just who we have in our captain's position. So it's who we kind of turn to. They've done a great job. They continue doing a great job. They're growing in that role, and I can't wait to see what they're capable of doing beyond what they do for us here at Freeport.
Yeah, and Jackie, obviously you're a college, women's basketball player. You've coached, you've trained. Does this sound pretty relatable to good teams you've been on?
This does sound pretty relatable. I wish it was a thing in more teams, I think, that I've watched and been around and been a part of. I guess my question is, I'm more curious about the standard part. Is there a certain quote or set any line you have that sort of surrounds your team's culture or standard that you try and have your players live by?
Yeah, I think the one we've kind of hung our hat on here, especially the last couple of years, is our effort. We talk about our effort. We talk about things that we have full control of. Worry about the things that you're capable of controlling, and your effort is one of them. We know how basketball is right now, how the game is. It's a game of runs on a nightly basis. It's who's going to sustain the run. When you kind of give up a run, you're going to bounce back from that and get back into yours. And I think all that really falls into that category of bringing 110% effort. We talk about perfection, but we know that one thing we definitely can perfect on a daily basis is our effort. And it carries over to, like I said before, real life situations, jobs. We talk about jobs and what they want in their lives. And we talk about promotions. If you're in a job, we're going to work our butt off for that next promotion. We don't want to settle for anything that we have in front of us now. So we really hang our hat on that, control the things that you can control, stress about the things that you can have full control of. And we feel like that one thing on a daily basis that can be perfect is that effort.
I love that. And I think it's cool, Jo, that we go into your girls first, man. Because once again, there was once upon a time where you were a bucket, dude. Like you were someone that could light the Seaver Center up on any given night. I was out there, I would say a little bit inebriated at times, watching you just go to work, man, and having fun. Talk about being out there as the guy that scored, as the guy that could, I don't know, put the team on their back at any time.
There are days that I do miss it, especially kind of in more of a coaching role. It's like sometimes I want to go out there and play myself. But to get to that point, it was a real honor to even have that green light to be able to play that way. I had some really great teammates around me that trusted the decisions that I made when the ball was in my hand. I had a really good post player that played with me that kind of took a lot of pressure off too. And you got a 6'9" guy that can
shout the boy out. Shout my guy. I'm a big fan, so shout the boy out.
When you got Big Z, Zach Wallace, he was a good partner in crime of mine, and we played 2-man game together for 3 years. And he was definitely another force on the floor for us as well. And as him and I kind of progressed through our career, we were like night and day. We were together through everything we did. We went through the trials and tribulations of the roller coaster ride we went on as players there. Him and I still talk. We're in a fantasy football league together. So him and I still keep in contact. I always checking on him, especially hoping he's doing well. I think it's still funny that him at 6'9", walking to a courtroom as a lawyer still kind of throws me for a loop, but it also just shows the determination of the man I got to play with in college. And, outside of him, I had a point guard and Ross that you and I both knew very well. Ross Artiaga, him and I,
Got the
we were
boy out.
like,
Shout Rossi out too.
yeah,
Yeah.
we were like two peas in a pod up there running the backcourt together. He always knew where I was when I needed to be, and it didn't take very long for us to kind of get on the same page when he transferred in from IBCC. So we got on the same page with each other, and then when we got the addition of Murray, that kind of took us to a whole different level. And again, another great player I got to play with that took a lot of pressure off me, that made the game a whole lot easier by my senior year. And we were pretty stacked as a team there. It's just sometimes things happen, injuries happen, kind of knocks you off your high horse a little bit. But I was blessed to play with the men that I got to play with at Rockford. It was an honor to be that type of player and be in that type of role. I appreciate both my coaches that I got to play for, Ryan Repson and Andrew Weber, that were able to give me that confidence to be the player I was there. And at the end of the day, hopefully my own kids that I get to coach get to have those moments that I got to have during that time.
No doubt. No doubt. And J.O., there's a special place for you at Seaver Garden, brother. It's always going to be that way. It's always going to have that home, that family feel. I love watching men's and women's basketball when I was at Rockford. All right, let's transition a little bit. So the preface of our podcast obviously is the keep going moment, man. I know you've had a couple. I know we spoke on them privately. I'm not going to pry you publicly. Talk about your keep going moment, something that you shouldn't have got through that you got through.
I've never been somebody that's kind of shied away from mistakes or decisions that I've made that's put me in a tough spot. And, at 19 years old, when I was at Rockford, I made a decision of, get behind the wheel of a car, completely intoxicated, and, end up crashing and get myself a DUI. And, I was kind of in that mindset of being 7.5 hours away from my house, felt like I was real independent, like I was invincible. And sometimes you need that reality check, whether it's as drastic as this situation was or anything else that could be a little bit smaller than that. But at that moment, it was, two things I could have taken from it. It was, I could let this decision define who I was as an individual, or I could have, let the next part of my life define who I was as an individual. How was I going to bounce back? A lot of people don't bounce back from the situation, especially being at a young age. You kind of go down the rabbit hole and continue with the same decisions. And I had a really good support system that kind of helped me get through it. And, basketball for me was kind of my savior. It was like my sanctuary away from everything. Like you talk about being in Seaver, I probably lived in that place for 4 years. Every night through the off season, I'm in there. Even on game days, I'm in there even extra than I should be. But it was my sanctuary away. And, I tell this story all the time to my kids that I coach. It was, a lot of people don't realize that small orange ball can take you a lot of places in your life you didn't ever realize it could take you, and bring people in your life you never thought that you would even have a chance of meeting, or never thought they'd ever be in your life because of the decisions you've made. So, finding a way to push through it and continue being the person and changing my ways and becoming the person I want to be. It was difficult. A lot, especially being at Rockford. We're a secluded campus. We're not really around anything. The closest thing to us realistically outside of the campus is Aldi's. And then outside of that, you got a nice long street of bars and everything of that nature. So the temptation was there to continue making those same decisions. But, being strong-minded and understanding what the task is at hand on a daily basis, understanding what your goals were. I kind of had to revert, back to my 14-year-old self at that time and kind of rewrite my goals back out, get a better understanding of what life really is about, and understand that every decision we make doesn't just affect you as an individual. It affects every person that cares about you and loves you. And, having that in your corner was really kind of the biggest thing that really got me to bounce back and continue pushing through. At the age of 31, it's still the same support system that's pushing me through those moments. As a coach, you win a game, you feel great. You lose a game, you always feel like, what did you do? That could have been better. So, those thoughts still roll through your head. It never, ever really goes away. But when you wake up every day and you got people in the same house that love you, that look up at you, having a young 10-year-old that looked at you a couple weeks ago and kind of really took me off guard, but referred to me as dad just out of nowhere, and it got me. And that was another realization that there's another expectation on my plate on a daily basis to be the best dad I can be when he's with us. So those are my bounce backs. Those are kind of what I fall back to keep pushing through, keep fighting through. Every day's a fight. Everything in life's a fight. And I think the last thing I kind of look at is I'm a big Rocky fan. I love me some Sylvester Stallone. I actually can't wait to watch my new episode of Tulsa King today. But going back to one of his Rocky movies, he talks about taking punches. In life, we all take punches and you get knocked out, but it's the response to the knockout. You get back up and you keep fighting. You keep throwing punches until you get to the result you want to get to. You push through any obstacles put in your way. And, those are some things I kind of fall back to that push me to be the best person I can be on a daily basis.
Yeah, beautifully said. Jackie, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I think too, like the Rocky quote, there's a quote from my favorite show, Ted Lasso, and it's, I hope that either of us, or I hope that either all of us or none of us are judged by the actions of our weakest moments, but rather by the strength we show when and if we're ever given a second chance.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful testimony, Jo. It's just like that's your story in a nutshell, man.
Yeah, basically it is. It's the shortened version of it, but again, it's kind of part of life. You don't grow and turn to the person you are without some sort of experience to help you find your way through. And I guess like we talk about all the time in our program, it's not about what you did yesterday. It's about how you improve from what you did yesterday, and hopefully keeping that mindset on a daily basis not only helps myself but anybody else that's ever in that situation.
Amen. David Mitchell, mailbag's hot, baby.
Mailbag. Yeah, I think just going off what you said, I think it's a reminder that you never know what someone else may be going through, and that kind action or that kind reach out might make someone's day a little bit better. And I think that's huge, and that just says a lot about you. My first question is that someone is transitioning from their sport to the real world, or someone that may be going through a change in their life right now. What advice would you give them during this transition?
I think the biggest one is stay true to yourself. Understanding what you bring to the table as an individual, knowing your personal worth. I think that we, as a society, so much we worry about what everybody else believes in us and what they believe our worth is. And I think we lose that grasp of what we personally feel about ourselves and understanding what our personal worth is. I look at it as going back to being a young kid in school. I don't know if anybody remembers AR reading, taking AR tests. You read a book, you go take a test on it. Just because that book closes does not mean that the information in that book goes on the wayside. It's still something you can go back and fall back to refer, something you need to refer to. I looked at basketball at first, like, man, what am I going to do? How am I going to get through this? Like, I've been doing this for 22 plus years, every day, getting in the gym, working out, going to play pickup. What do I do? I'm not preparing for a season no more. Like, you're kind of in that in between. But you fall back to those books that have closed before, the things you love to do, the things that you really enjoy that interest you. When I first was deciding about going to play at the next level, I was already accepted into the broadcasting program at the University of Illinois. That was my number one thing that I wanted to go into, was in broadcasting. And I knew basketball was something I also loved to do and wanted to play, and just kind of wanted to wait for the right opportunity. So when that door closed and the career of mine came to an end, and I decided to step away from playing and didn't want to put myself through it no more, I reverted back to that book that closed before, and kind of got back to something I enjoyed doing. And broadcasting was something that kind of brought joy to my life. So I kind of started stepping in at Rockford and announcing games, and announcing some games at local high schools that are around the area. I do it sometimes out in Freeport here still too. But it was like, it kind of brought me back to, it made me feel like John O'Brien outside of basketball. I think I kind of had to get to a point where there are two sides of you. I tell the girls when I coach them, Mr. O'Brien, the teacher, is different than Coach John. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I have not two different lives, but two different approaches to both of them. And if you can get yourself back to what that makes you who you are, that makes you enjoy life, that brings joy to what you do. I know you open up the show talking about you love snowboarding and going out and hiking. Like that's something you love to do. It kind of brings you back to that reality of that you are still a human being. You're not there all the time to, put your body through everything you possibly can to get yourself ready to play a sport or ready to play a season. But now you're getting your body ready. You're getting your mind ready for the next step in life. Believe in yourself. Believe in the things you bring to the table. Know your worth. and always know that every day that you walk this earth, whether somebody tells you on a daily basis or not, you matter. You matter to somebody at some point, and don't ever walk away or give up on something that you feel like that you're not great at, because not every person in the world was great at anything they do. It takes time to work at it and keep believing in yourself and stay true to yourself. And I believe you'll get through that transition.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Just a reminder, just to keep going. It might be hard sometimes, but it does get better. My second question is, what's one message you want every listener to walk away with today, if we left anything else out there?
Just got to keep fighting. I mean, we all know the world we live in. We know how much social media is taking over everything. We know how much. I mean, I'm a teacher. I see my kids staring at their phones on a daily basis, and sometimes I can't get their attention. But it's kind of part of how society is going. But you keep fighting. You keep pushing yourself through every tough space that you get into. It's not there because these tough obstacles don't come in front of you because you're not capable of handling them. It doesn't mean that you're not strong enough to handle them. It's somebody trying to give you a subliminal message, basically saying like, we know you can fight. Let's get over this. Let's push through. Let's keep fighting. Let's keep throwing punches. Let's get to the next round. I've kind of broken my life down and kind of in a boxing term into different rounds. There's a lot of rounds in my life that I've lost where I got knocked out. I could have laid there and taken the beating at that point and just, kind of drift away in the wind. But understanding and hearing the right people that I've had in my life tell me, get back up, John, and fight. Get back up and fight. Keep throwing your punches. This ain't the end. This never is going to be the end. The end is what you make it. And, everybody goes through their own personal endeavors. They go through their own personal situations that they're not ever possibly comfortable talking about. But at the end of the day, at some point in this world, somebody does love you. Somebody cares about you. Somebody wants you to be great. They might not tell you on a daily basis, but that one person still exists somewhere in a good spot for you. And, at the end of the day, I know it's hard to say to roll with the punches, but you can also roll with the punches and throw some punches back to keep pushing. So I would probably kind of leave it at that. Take as much as you can, but don't be afraid to fight back. Don't be afraid to do it. Have that heart, have that drive to keep pushing.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Wow. This episode I'm definitely going to have to rewatch multiple times. There's a lot of good stuff in here. So thank you for coming on here today and sharing your story.
I appreciate you having me.
Jackie, I'll go to you and I'll cap us off.
I just have something to say. We haven't addressed the fact that he coaches for the team and they're the Pretzels.
Yeah. So, Jackie, I can go into that a little bit more in depth. So, that is one of the greatest mascots, the Freeport Pretzels, in all of high school athletics. John, you probably know more about it. You coach for them, man. What's up?
We are the only mascot that is a pretzel. It's definitely something different.
The logo is kind of tough, though. Like, I like it.
It is. It definitely is. And the funny part is Pat and I, we had a couple buddies of ours that were from Freeport. Well, and I remember when our buddy Alex Schleich told us the first time that their mascot was a pretzel, and I kind of looked at him like, what are you talking about? And then all of a sudden, he's like, yeah, dude, look at this list. And there's like a whole list of like Illinois high schools that just have these random mascots. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of not weird, but I'm just like, I've never heard of anything, any of these natures, let alone any to have any clue of what a mascot itself would kind of look like as a whole.
Yeah.
But it's very prideful here. It's
awesome.
They have a lot of different quotes that go along with it. Some great ones that are pretty funny, but the pride here of being a pretzel is something big in this town. Anybody you might meet that either is graduate of Freeport or from the city itself or kind of new to the city, they get fully embedded and wrapped up into it. I think now I'm at a point from being here the last 5 years. I think I have more pretzel gear in my wardrobe now than I probably have had any Rockford gear, or I'm a big Louisville fan, so I think I have more pretzel gear now than I do Louisville gear. So you kind of get wrapped up in it. It definitely is a pretty cool mascot. It's nice to kind of be out there and a little bit different. Like for us this year, we're in the State Farm Classic this year down in Bloomington for Christmas, and you had to write a little description about your team to kind of talk about what your team's about. And not only did I talk about who we have in our program and what type of team we have, I was just like, hey, what what local basketball lover in Bloomington is going to open up the newspaper or open up the program and see that the Freeport Pretzels are coming to the State Farm Classic? And not going to be like, who the heck are the Pretzels? Let's go find out what they're about. So I'm not going to say that was what got us in, but I definitely feel like that was a little bit of a small piece that got us into that role. And but yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. Like I said, they're pretty prideful about it. And I'm definitely enjoying being a part of Pretzel Country and having a great time doing it. And got some great families, great kids that love it just as much as you would assume somebody would. And hopefully that continues on down.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Pretzel Country, stand up. I spent 2 falls with Coach Sean Dasher, who actually was on the podcast a couple episodes ago. And I'm a big pretzel guy. I got a bunch of pretzel gear. I coach baseball there. I do have one regret about the pretzels while we're on this topic. When I was at Elk Grove High School, we rallied around a mascot challenge in Illinois, and we played the Freeport Pretzels as the Grenadiers in the mascot cup and beat them by voting. The problem was we did it kind of like, I don't know, sheepishly. We just had a bunch of people vote. There's no way the Grenadiers were a better mascot than the Pretzels. So I have a regret there. So I just want to get that out in the pod. You guys should have been state champions in the mascot cup. So I apologize for that.
I said I saw even our mascot's got the full details. You got salt pieces on it and everything. When you see it walking around, they everywhere you go in town, you can't miss one. There's one almost in every corner on every sign. And I said they are very prideful about it. And like I said, I'm very blessed that this school district and the athletic department took a chance on a young kid at 26 to kind of be in the role that I am in. And wherever my coaching career ends up, I can tell you right now that my time in Freeport will always be something that I will cherish the rest of my life, for however long it is and however long it goes. And not just because of the wonderful adults and people I work with, but the families and kids that I've had the pleasure of coaching over the last 5 years and the kids I have now. They definitely make it very easy to come to work every day.
JL, blessings, brother. Pojo definitely came with it today. Shout out Freeport Nation, from anybody from Trey Miley to Sean Dasher to Pearl to JO. It's been a great episode today. JL, man, I love you. You've been a huge part of my life and my growth. And I'm looking forward to following your girls, man. Big winter coming up. All right, brother?
I appreciate it. Same thing to you, brother. We go back to our time there. As Pat keeps saying, Pojo, we were on a little 2-man duo ourselves there in the dorms. Nobody couldn't really handle Pojo and a lot of things that we did. But man, I'm even going back to, I remember even coming to school early that our last year together, when you were already back on campus, you and Adam, and I came back a couple weeks early to kick it with you guys before school started. So I mean, our relationship runs deep, man. And I'm happy for you. At the end of the day, I feel like being in a small community like Rockford, sometimes we get so caught up in the things that we're doing there. It's such a small campus. Everybody knows everybody. So sometimes it's kind of hard to not really get along with everybody, but sometimes that kind of runs into it. But, at the end of the day, I'm kind of at a point now where as long as every person that I went to school with there, or if I didn't get to go to school with you at Rockford, man, do something great. It's a great showing for the school itself, but it's a great showing for the people that really are there. We kind of get hidden back there in the woods a little bit, but it's people like you, man, that made it very easy for me to come all the way from home, from Kentucky, to be up here and finish school and reach the goals that I've reached. It's guys like you that's kind of helped me get there as well, brother. It's a 2-way street for me, man. It ain't ever just me being or taking the compliments of what I do for people. Other people have helped me, and you're definitely one of them, brother.
Blessings, bro. No, I appreciate you, man. It couldn't be more mutual. I'm looking forward to being in the area still for the next 4 years and watching your growth, man, as a dad, as a coach, as a teacher, as a friend, brother. Always got a special place in my heart, man. David Mitchell, thanks for all the help today, brother. Questions were fire in the mailbag. And everybody on a nice Sunday where there's a lot of football going on, keep going. We'll talk soon, everybody. Thanks, guys.